Greetings, friends and neighbors, and welcome to a Forager's Guide to Halloween. Scott here, and today we are going to be looking at plants that can help you survive Halloween, at least when it comes to 5 of the most common Halloween-type monsters, or monsters we think of around Halloween. We're going to look at zombies, vampires, werewolves, witches, and ghosts or spirits. And you're going to see that actually a lot of these plants overlap and have multiple uses. We're not going to get really deep in the lore. This is just a little light, fun look at some things. Plant folklore of this type is a hobby of mine, although I'm not as well versed in this as I am in, say, foraging or herbal medicine. But I always love to learn more, and I thought you might love to learn a little bit too. So let's start out with the namesake for the group, zombies. And zombies we're going to have to split into 2 categories, 2 general groups: a magic type zombie, one raised through, voodoo or evil spells or something, and a plague type zombie. This would be your viral zombie or rage virus or one of those. So if we're talking magic zombies, probably your best defense is going to be garlic, and this is going to come up a lot. Garlic in folklore was used as a very common protection against spells, evil magic, the evil eye, all kinds of things like that. So hanging garlic around your house, maybe just chunking garlic at the zombie's head, should get you covered. Other things that generally might be helpful are a row of elderberry bushes, or a row of rowan trees. We're going to talk about those more in a minute too. Or red berries. For some reason, red berries, just in general, regardless of where they come from, seem to be thought of as effective against evil magic, which these would fall under. But if we're talking about plague zombies, so zombies that aren't magical but that are rather contagious in nature, you probably want garlic, again, because garlic is tremendously antimicrobial. It's one of the best, most accessible, and most effective antimicrobial plants. It's a perfect plant for everyone to start out with in herbal medicine because you can just go get it at the grocery store, or you can grow it yourself. It's really easy to grow, and it's powerful. If the contagion, if you think it might be airborne, any of the, stay away from them. Garlic is still a good bet. Any of the aromatic mints would also be a good place to start. They all have some antimicrobial properties, and being aromatic, their effects tend to waft up into the air. The mint family in general tends to want to kill microbes. Some of them are more specialized, some of them are, broad spectrum. Oregano is a wonderful broad spectrum antimicrobial, for example. So those would be my guesses there. If you think that the zombie virus might be transmitted by mosquitoes, which would be truly horrible, any of the plants mentioned so far, aromatic mints, garlic, or onions too. Onions are very closely related and they'd be great. Or we've talked about beautyberry a few times. American beautyberry, Calicarpa americana, is one of the most powerful bug-repelling plants that there is. There's also a citronella geranium, I think. I haven't really tried that one, but I see it in plant magazines and plant nurseries sometimes. And it's supposed to repel mosquitoes. All right, moving on. Our next monster is vampires. And we all have some movie lore on vampires, and it's actually fairly accurate with the folklore. Well, not all the glittering in the sunlight and all the not the cosmetic appearance of vampires, but the things that kill the vampires is fairly in line with folklore. Garlic, once again, garlic is a vampire repellent or a vampire destroyer. And vampire folklore, you got to understand, there are vampire legends around the world, and so finding one plant that is consistent around the world, you're just not going to. But garlic is about as close as you can get. We all know that you kill a vampire by driving a wooden stake through its heart, but did you know that not everyone agrees on what type of wood you should use? Some of the popular choices are ash, hawthorn, or in some cases, oak. Fun fact, vampirism appears in the plant kingdom as well, as there are legends of zombie pumpkins and gourds that if they're left out too long, they get bloody spots developing on them and they roll around the ground and groan and growl. However, they aren't really dangerous because they don't have teeth. But just keep an eye out for those zombie pumpkin or vampire pumpkins. let's skip over to witches, because I'm going to save werewolves for last, because werewolves are kind of the most unique in this group. Okay, witches. And just as a note, I know that there are people that practice witchcraft as a religion, and I don't actually know any practical information about that. So if you happen to be a Wiccan, or if I'm using the terms wrong, if you're one of those people, don't take this as a personal attack. I'm just talking about old plant folklore is all I'm talking about. So, witches of the wicked kind. One of the plants you might want to try is elderberry, but elderberry is a weird plant when it comes to witchcraft, because some legends will say that it repels witches and protects you from witches, and other legends say that witches meet under the elderberry tree to practice their magic. So, if we were to assume that this information was true, then it probably means that there's some type of different application that makes it a pro or a con when it comes to witchcraft. Elderberry is also linked with a lot of the fairy realms or the spirit world. About making there's legends about making a flute with an elderberry, and you can use it to communicate with the dead, or taking a nap under an elderberry plant and having a dream of either the fairy realm or the spirit realm. Garlic is another one. Garlic protecting you from evil magic. And as with the magic zombies, red berries in general are thought to protect you from witches. Now, another tree that is thought to be very powerful against evil magic is the rowan tree, or the mountain ash. Also has reddish berries. And people would make a cradle, or like a wicker basket type of thing. I don't exactly know how you go about doing that, but they would make a cradle or a basket or something for putting a baby in, made from the rowan tree, and it was supposed to protect them from evil magic and witches and spirits and whatnot. So there you go. And as long as I'm talking about spirits, let's just go ahead and skip over to spirits or ghosts, or however we want to define those. And yep, the rowan tree or mountain ash is supposedly an effective deterrent against them. You can plant a row of them. I don't know if you have to do an entire perimeter around your house or how that works, or just carry a branch in your pocket to protect you from possession or from the hexes and curses of the witches. Keep some of those red berries in your pocket. You can throw them right at those undead. Garlic, again, is a protector, as would be onions. Hey, one thing I didn't mention about vampires, grow you some blackberries, because in some legends, vampires have to stop and count all of the blackberries on a blackberry bramble before they can come into your house. So just grow a bunch of blackberries around there, and at least during the spring, you'll have them covered. If you do blackberries and raspberries and the dewberries, and they're all blooming at different times or fruiting at different times, that'll spread out your protection area. Okay, finally, we are at werewolves, which are among the most unique. See, everything else has sort of a magical, spiritual connection, or a link. It's within that dynamic. Our concept of vampires, for example, is very physical. We think of a person that changes physically into a wolf or physically into a bat, that walks around. But the folklore concept of vampires many times was actually much more akin to what we would think of as a ghost. And of course, vampire legends are very diverse across the world, so that's not 100% universal. But many times, a vampire, if someone in the past was talking about a vampire, it would be much more like what we would describe as a ghost or a ghost story. Illnesses, a lot of times, were thought to be caused by evil magic or by spirits, and hey, maybe they were, but regardless, that's the reason why garlic was used, and why it was also so effective. If a person's illness was attributed to vampires, witchcraft, nasty spirits, that kind of thing, giving them garlic many times would boost the immune system. It would fight the infection, and maybe it would fight the evil spirits and whatnot. I just don't know how to measure that. And then they could get better, and that's how it got associated, so that's kind of neat. But a werewolf is typically more of a physical entity, a person that transforms into a wolf or a wolf hybrid. And on the werewolf front, I certainly wouldn't skip the garlic, although I don't find a lot of specific references to it. But yeah, I would try garlic. Also, most famously, we have wolfsbane or monk's hood, and you might be talking about the same plant when you use those names, or you might be talking about two closely related plants, because common names work that way. But those are said to be werewolf repellents or poisons to kill a werewolf. You know, use them, you can weaponize them. Possibly used as a cure, although that's a lot fuzzier. I'm not sure on the details there. So if you get bit by a werewolf, contact me and we'll look it up together. Contact me via Zoom. I don't want to be by a werewolf. Okay, and that's going to cover it. There is your basic guide to surviving Halloween and the Halloween monsters. So keep your eyes out for plants and zombies and vampires and werewolves and witches and ghosties. And if we all make it through this together, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.